Welcome to The Poetry Show with us, the podcast poets. This is a podcast that aims to bring poems or poetic discussion to people who love poetry, to those of you who really aren't all that sure about poetry, and to poetry novices. And maybe we can inspire you to try a poem for yourself. A word of warning, we might use a couple of edgy words. We're kind of PG-13. Every week, we'll discuss a theme and look at how four very different poets work within that theme to create a poem. Hopefully, we'll do something for everyone. So we'll each do a poem, and we'll chat about that poem and then move on to the next. I'm Rose, and we have...
Becca.
Yes.
Alan.
And guest...
Neil.
Yay! Neil Cathan. Welcome back, Neil. I'm so glad you're here. Today's show is about sleep, or maybe not sleep. When Emily was little, we had sleepovers and such like. Do you get enough sleep? Do you lay awake staring at the ceiling, or do you drop off as soon as you lay down? I hate you, by the way. Yes, you normal sleepers out there. I used to be you. I got sleepy, I lay down, I closed my eyes, and then... But those days and nights are not very common anymore. First, I developed absolute insane, mythic insomnia with Lyme disease. 3, 4, even 5 days, no sleep. I think I blacked out from time to time, but nope, no sleep at all. And I'll just read you tiny bits of 2 poems I wrote during that period. Anyway, after years of antibiotics, that's way better, but still I need to wait for the sleep train, and then I have to be ready to get on it. If I miss it, I might be up for hours. For me, insomnia is terribly boring, like waiting for a bus that never comes. Just waiting. Sometimes I could doze off or get those daydreamy thoughts, but not reach deep sleep. So the 2 short poems I will do in full are about those awful kinds of nights, which are behind me mostly. But for example, on a poem about the Christmas season, called "'Tis the Season to be Jolly," which I won't do all of. With this endless insomnia, I've been awake so long, I'm shocked we've not had Christmas yet. What? Not already May? And then another time, it's a poem about just religion it devolved into. And it starts off with, it's called "All Good Servants," and it starts off with midnight. I no longer sleep, ever. I wander the house, a living wraith, checking this, fiddling that, but growing only weary enough to stumble through the morrow. And I'll touch base on those later because I can use them for religion and holidays. But in any case, the 2 little ones I wrote about insomnia. The problem with insomnia is you have these great ideas. And if you write them down, you'll get even more awake. And if you lay there and go, I'll remember that, you won't. War is hell, hell is war. The bedside of an insomniac is a littered battlefield. Novels, notebooks, pills, sound machine, snatches of feverishly scribbled words. Along magazine margins, on paper scraps, on the occasional book flap, even sometimes on a book's blank back pages. Sacrilege. The bed table of an insomniac is a veritable battlefield. And every night I prepare for war. And then another little one, insomnia open mic. Sometimes I dream when I doze. I'm so grateful for those nights. Time passes and I still get my dreams. My mind creates lectures and short stories and novels and poetry. Always a story. Always at the movies. Sometimes I write poetry as I try to doze. Grand ones, maybe even good ones. I used to jump up and joyfully jot down the words, or consciously clear my mind and hope to think it up later, a fresh thought still. Or I desperately try to commit the words to memory. Now I just appreciate them, enjoy them like real dreams. One-time poetry, original and unrepeatable open mic nights for an audience of me. Yes, that's what happens. You're trying to sleep or not sleep or whatever, or that's it,
Well, taking your waiting for the bus analogy even further, I was just thinking, when the bus does come, it usually says not in service.
Yes, well, that's true.
I have a stack of Post-it notes where I'll write down an idea and I'll stick it on the wall next to me so that I'll see it in the morning.
Oh, that's a really good idea. I do try to keep a pen and paper, but then if you don't, then you're looking around. Then I can't sleep. I'm like, I'll remember it. I'll remember. I'm trying to commit it to, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work either. But this was back in the day. Those little snippets, and then those 2 short, terrible poems that I didn't read well anyway, because I've never read them out at an open mic. I don't think. I might have one of them. I don't know. But yeah, it's when I'm trying to sleep and I can't sleep. my mind still thinks of stuff because I'm daydreamy and kind of bored and just pondering. It's like you're stuck waiting in an airport, or something, a really big airport, and you can't do anything. And so it's not normal insomnia where you're nervous and your heart is, and you're anxiety ridden. In my case, it's just, I can't sleep. So I just didn't. So that was what was going on with me. That's my take on sleep. It's the not sleep of it. I mean, I do better now, I think, Alan. I do. You're a normal sleeper, Alan.
No, I'm not.
Oh, I don't know. The other night we were up very long. We had a bunch of stuff we're doing, and then finally he falls like a tree and closes his eyes and he's snoring within minutes.
But then I'm awake at 3 and have to go downstairs and get something to drink. Otherwise I'll get leg cramps.
Yeah, but you doze off, man.
And had you not been around to see him fall like a tree, would his snoring have made any sound?
Ah, that is true. Actually, when I first got together with him and he snored, I thought, is this going to kill me? And it doesn't. Actually, I don't mind the sound, thankfully.
I think it helps us sleep.
But, well, we'll go with
That's
that.
That's very kind of you.
Yes, exactly.
See, I'm benevolent.
No, I try to pinch his nose, but I think someday, it's going to be too effective. So,
I dread if I ever get a long-term partner, that person's snoring, because I'm so sensitive to sound.
Yeah.
So I don't do this. I'm not to this extreme anymore. I still use earplugs, but I used to have earplugs, and then I'd tie a scarf around my face, and it would block the light coming into my eyes because the light was a problem too. Can you tell I'm autistic? But it would also be an extra kind of cushion against noise, and every little noise was sort of torturous.
Well, I can't stand a ticking clock anywhere.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it gets bigger and bigger till it's like Big Ben or someone with a frying pan over my head going dong dong. I can't do that.
My parents once bought me an awesome clock. It looked like a Cyberman head, and I was a big Doctor Who nut. I ripped the back out of it because it was ticking too loud.
Yes, exactly.
I get the opposite in terms of sound when I'm sleeping, in that I've always grown up, always lived near both a fairly busy road and directly under an airplane path. And I realised after 20 years of living directly under a flight path that I can't sleep if I can't hear the planes.
Oh, wow. No, you like a little noise. Yeah,
no, it's just become normal. It just becomes too quiet. It's like there are no cars and no planes going overhead. What's wrong? Where did the people go?
Yes, it's an apocalypse. They're all gone. Yes,
well, our sleep
exactly.
Our sleep patterns changed when we started living in Miami because we lived on a street. So all of a sudden, we had to get used to the people talking outside the window.
Oh, not only that.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Yes. So we went
screams,
from
gunshots.
And now we're more used.
Miami.
Silence is, as you say, a little bit more odd.
That's true.
That's not gunshots in Miami. That's people just standing their ground.
Yes. Yes.
I live right next to a theatre right now, so I've gotten used to hearing sort of occasional kind of the sound of everyone leaving and everyone's discussing. So I've gotten a lot better at putting up with noise when I'm trying to sleep.
Well, that's a good thing then.
Yeah, we get tourists going home at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
They seem to think that whispering is not allowed at night when you're drunk.
And they sing. Now, I've had my share of drinking to excess, but I don't recall actually going down the road screaming at the top of my lungs and singing loudly and laughing.
No, me neither.
No.
Well, no, there's a definite feel. Well, I think they all walk.
Neil rumbled.
They walk a long way from one another, so they have to shout across the road because their friend is over there. Oh, and of course, there's the arguments between the couples who one of them flirted a little bit more vociferously than the other during the course of the evening.
Oh, yes, we've heard that. You were looking at her. And that's very. I like that. That's like theater in its own special way, isn't it? Yes, actually.
Living in town is its own theater. That is
absolutely. So
true. Mine
is on the lack of sleep, which has gotten somewhat better, but used to be mythic. 4 to 5 days at a time. Nothing could help me sleep. Nothing. It was bizarre. That was something to do with the neurological something. But it's better now, which is good. Okay, so I've talked about no sleep. Do you have?
I'll talk about you sleeping.
Okay. Oh, because this is creepy. It's a sweetly creepy poem.
Alan's tapping into his inner Edward Cullen here.
Yes, exactly.
This one is called Asleep. I love so much to watch you sleep, curled up so trusting next to me. So still you lie, so very quiet, your arms tucked tight and legs furled up. My ears reach out to catch your breath, to hear the movement of your chest, which hardly stirs, so still you lie. Your face at rest draws in my eye to sketch your forehead, cheek and chin. Your mouth relaxed, no smile or frown, so like the face you show to me in depth of loving ecstasy. But now so placid I reflect on how I see your face see me, and change from long or square or round, your hair tied up or back or down. You turn to me and the light floods in, and when you rest against my chest, you glow. As we together meld as one, I love so much to watch you sleep, curled up so trusting next to me.
Thank you.
That's really sweet.
Yes, exactly. See what I mean? Sweetly creepy. Yes, I love it.
I know,
actually.
sickly sweet. Yes.
No, it's well. Actually, that was when we first got together. I found myself, to my horror, writing love poem thingies. I was like, the hell's happening to me? What's going on? And I was writing all these kind of sappy thingies, but I think it was probably normal. I don't know. But that's a very good poem, Alan. I like that. That's that was early on when you first
2003.
Yes, because we used to do the fiction of well, not fiction. It was real. You would not spend the night. You would not be there when Emily woke up because we didn't think we thought it'd be bizarre. She was 12, and so you would go off, and I think one night you finally just spent the night, and we're like, oh, screw it. Here you go. Just stay. And it made sense that you just stayed. So that's okay. So mine is on the lack. In those days, I was sleeping. So you've put the lie to my insomnia poem. I love so much to watch you stare at the wall. Do you blink? You're freaking me out. So,
well, actually, during the night, it is often better to pretend to be asleep, because once you start a conversation, it kills it.
Well,
so even if the other person speaks, you just keep quiet unless it's an emergency, because that way you're both likely to sleep.
That's good. So next time I say something and you're not breathing the way you normally breathe when you sleep, I should just whack your arm until you answer?
No.
Okay, note to self. Okay, next time he's just trying not to answer. He's just trying not to answer. All right.
Make sure you get back to sleep again. I'm being nice.
Okay, we'll go with that. No, that's all right. That's okay. Sleep is a weird thing when you're trying to do it in the same room with someone else. You know, Becca, you may end up having the Victorian way of the 2 bedrooms. I mean, people do actually like that. Who knows? It's this grand moment when you go down the hall, you know. Darling, may I come in tonight? So, yes.
And then, of course, you have to add the added complication of the cat. Well, we don't have one, but
no.
I have lived at times when there's been a cat, and then that's the next complication, because the cat occupies 95% of the bed. When there's 2 people trying to squeeze into the 5% left over.
Yeah, a cat can starfish. You can be quite impressed by that, really. How'd you do that?
I was once in the position of sleeping over at my then girlfriend's dorm at uni, and you have single beds, so we're trying to sleep in a single bed. And
yes.
there's this point about 2 a.m. when a hand that was outside of the duvet and getting very, very cold, like slips under the duvet and just like presses against me, and I wake up with like this shuddering shiver. It was awkward times.
I understand, looking at this notebook filled with many words, Neil, that you have a small poem about sleep. No?
I'm really fascinated to hear this one.
Yes.
I think I'll just probably jump in.
I think so, yes.
21 hours. I'm not myself, and it is making you ill at ease, but this is nothing, but isn't it all? You don't like it when I play with my chemistry, but I didn't mean to, not this time, not most times. I think my chemistry is playing with me. Or maybe I'm playing with myself. Ha. I'm a poet, dear. Don't you know I gather weekly for group masturbation? I'm quite good. It's the technique. All in the wrists, you understand. At 23 hours, the orange seeds crunch beneath my teeth and leave my mouth bitter. Or was that the coffee and the cigarettes? Out of the second. I'll ask around. We'll get a lot of no's, because apparently they've never needed one. Lee used to keep a pack on him. Didn't smoke, but knew how smokers get when they need one. Fuck, Lee. I miss you. The light hurts my head when I look at it. Everything's falling apart and my hands are not that big. Promised Anna I'd do a train poem. I'm on the train now. I should have said that part first. Only one I have is a coward's suicide note. Or the perfect alibi if someone wants to kill me with a train. Ratio. I can see where I work when we go over Scansell. I always lean to see it. Love to Owen for getting me the work. I'm choosing to blame the night hours for my current state. It's the least worrying explanation. Neil, you melodramatic fuck. Remember getting caught lying, but everything was okay anyway? 23 and a half abstract constructs to deal with an immutable certainty, and I'm wondering what would happen if I just stopped playing along. Inconclusive. Needs field testing. I bought some cigarettes. Did the will my card be rejected gamble? Can't face potential shame for food, can for cigs. I feel about as bad if I lack either. Think my adult license should be revoked though. Gemma stole being a child from me. Riddle. What's neither an adult nor a child? A poet. Ha. Nina said she could see a halo around my head. Let Aid make of that what he may. For my money, I think Nina's gravely fucking mistaken. But then, I don't have any money and other half-truths. I can feel my fingernail pulling away from my flesh. Something had to go first. 24 hours. First hallucination. Seat across from me had a blonde in a pastel yellow dress who came to sit with me. Jerk awake / present. There's not even a seat across from me. It's a wall. Half an hour later, and I think of you and I become very angry because there are two things you were going through, and both are romanticized. Both are cool coats that people, some of them my friends, put on to show how sophisticated they are. Then again, movies and music and yes, poetry teach us that pain is beautiful and cool. There's a lot that's beautiful and cool about you. You being in pain never increases them. You will never be more beautiful than taking a picnic that sunny day we bumped into each other accidentally. If I wasn't aware that that day was an illusion, I would have stayed there forever. 26.5 hours. I promise not to harp on this, but my bout of insomnia has proved not only durable but usable and interesting, to me at least, by a combination of an extremely powerful stimulant swallowed by the black cupful and lungfuls of nicotine to remain focused. And that's fine. Hey, I like drugs. But the only difference is whether the government says it's okay. Later, I'll unwind with a substance that's topped only by heroin in terms of the damage it does, in plain legal sight like the fucking rebels we all are. Last time I took ecstasy, I lay on a soft surface and basked in the love I felt for and from my friend. Wild shit. Glad it's illegal. Fuck, I'm preaching. 15 minutes later, staring contest with surveillance camera. Winning. Burning sensation in my limbs, like I've been weighing nettles for cloves. 27 hours. I miss understanding what's going on around me, and I miss feeling good enough. I miss simple things being simple. A man in a t-shirt with birds on it sat opposite on Pendle Talk back. T-shirt same yellow, hair same blonde. Closed my eyes, opened them again, and he was gone. Unsure if he was there. 32 hours now. Spent last 5 dealing with personal crisis of own creation. Managed to avoid making anything worse. May have helped repair damage. Grateful for support network to lean on. Adrenaline doing as good a job as the caffeine. I've never made 40 before. Done 3 walls so far that I remember. Time is fluid. Time is just a way of adding structured logic to our knowledge of our own mortality. We need time so we have something to run out of. Otherwise we'd just be alive, then dead. It's impossible to discuss mortality without the language of time. It's a resource that we spend, a living thing that we kill. The language gives us power over it, or the impression of it at least. We made time, but it will break us all. So of course time is fucking money.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely an insomnia poem.
Yeah. Why were
I always hit a point because I do sometimes have bad enough insomnia that I just stop trying and decide I'm just going to try and power through the next day. And there's always a point where I think I should do this more often. I'm actually getting writing done, and then I look back over the writing and there's like 5% of it that I can actually use. But like I don't know, like it can. I think that can actually relate back to the whole idea of like pain being thought of as beautiful. Like there's like sometimes I sort of convince myself that I do my best writing when I'm in some kind of weird mental state because of insomnia or other sort of various mental weirdnesses. I like that.
What were you? Was there a reason that you were awake for 32 or 33 hours?
So I hadn't slept the night before, and I had a bunch of jobs to do, me and my girlfriend at the time had moved across the city of Stockholm, and she was employed in day work and I was employed in night work. And there was stuff that had to be moved from the apartment, and public transport was much better during the day, so having worked a shift at night.
Oh no. Yes.
Got
it always makes sense at the time.
Lifted boxes, as many as I could carry on train, then took an hour and a half train back, then took an hour and a half train back to the apartment to get more boxes to lift, all of which in a state of just exhaustion, and then went to perform poetry because that's what you do in that state.
I was just going to say, were you any good that night or just totally...
Well, I read that, so it was... It saved me from having to perform. It's just, right, this is my brain today, there you go.
I know what you mean about hallucinations. When I wasn't sleeping, except for moments of just passing out, that's why I stopped driving for a while, because I just started to turn in front of some cars that I didn't see there. God. And Emily was, I was a bad mom. I let her watch South Park. And what I would do is I record it on the video machine. She was 9. And if it looked like a very edgy part was coming on South Park, I'd scream, down, down, down. And she'd drop to the floor like we were avoiding things. And I would, I would hit mute, whatever, and then whatever. And I think I'd hit stop record or something. I forget now. And then she'd watch the edited tape later or something. So she fell in love with the South Park characters. And she could go through the supermarket singing, Blame Canada at the age of 10. It was funny. The entire South Park movie was only 32 minutes when I was done editing it down for her.
Wow.
Yes, it was like
it's fine. My dad played me in Jury and the Blockheads, so you're not the only parent to show your kids.
Well, do you know what? So it's like very real. My name is Mr. Hand. All the rest. So she liked all that stuff. It was great. She one time said, "Mom, can you cut out these figures?" These characters from the South Park Toys box. I found South Park Toys and put them on my notebook. And I went, okay. And then it was a night where I couldn't sleep. Even a glass of wine didn't work. Tylenol PM didn't work. Nothing worked. I don't remember sleeping at all. But then I'm laying down. And I used to doze off a little bit about 5 or 6 in the morning. And she's getting ready to go to work at 7. And I hear this, thanks, Mom. That was good. That was good. And she goes off, and then she comes home from school later, and I go, what happened? She goes, well, you cut the South Park characters off and put them on my notebook. So I'm glad I'm a good mom when I'm unconscious, but I'd cut them out really badly, and I'd tape them on really nappily. And so I had technically done the task, but she was like, that's...
No, I've never had insomnia-induced hallucinations, but I have had very weird dreams, which is what my poem is about.
All right. This I want to hear.
Masterful segue.
Good, actually.
These are about a kind of dream that I had, which when I Googled it to find out if I was the only person in the world who had dreams like this, I found out that they're what are called type 2 false awakenings.
Ah.
And it's basically where your nightmares take a turn for the existential. So this is my poem. When I was 10, my nightmares took a turn for the postmodern. The monsters of old were replaced with dreams that seem like waking life until they don't. Almost flawless worlds that crack and shatter into pieces when I look at them too close, only to reveal a new facade beneath that cracks in turn, and on the Russian dolls of nightmares go, until at last, when wrenching free, I wonder if I've truly woken. Inception terrified me.
Yeah.
I've come to know the vertigo that hits when brittle visions shimmer from existence, enough to see that recently it's not just dreams that do this. Perhaps my false awakenings prepared me for the post-truth world, where facts and social decencies seem obvious until they don't.
Ooh, yes. Actually, yes.
I considered putting more at the end to try and elaborate on that, but I decided to just leave it like that.
I think that's just perfect.
Because it is a very similar kind of vertigo I feel whenever, that thing which we always assume was the case, we assumed that the US wouldn't elect someone who said that, or we assumed that, we wouldn't have, a post-referendum violence in the UK, surely.
Yes.
And there's all these moments where you feel like maybe we're waking up by inches, or maybe we're just being sent further into that Russian doll of sort of illusions.
I saw a movie recently a film recently that did that, actually. Yes, well. make of this what you will. My new favorite TV show is Designated Survivor. I will not elaborate. So in any case, I'm watching this, and the character of the president, who's found himself to be president of the U.S., surprisingly, is waking up, and he looks at the window, and something frightening happens, and he wakes up, and he's screaming, and his daughter's visiting him going, and, Mommy, Daddy was screaming. But yes, that's actually, I think I've had that happen too. You think you're awake, and then you're not, and then you are awake.
There's two types of false awakenings. The first one is the one that a lot of people get, which is where you dream that you've woken up and gone about some of your daily routine.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and you go, oh, I've still got to go to work.
Yes.
The type I get are ones where everything seems okay and then something goes wrong. So when I was 10, what would happen was I think I'd be going around the daily light, and there would be this, and suddenly there'd be this loud drum that would start playing. And it was like a war drum, and that would sort of indicate, oh, I'm in a dream now. And like later on it would be things like there'd be skulls on the windowsills and stuff like that. And it's terrifying because you wake up and I wake up and I count how many fingers I have, because sometimes I have the wrong number of fingers in dreams. I wake up and I go and try and read something, because often if I try and read something in a dream, it reveals itself to be a dream.
Oh, right, yes, because the words aren't real.
It's why Inception was kind of a horror film for me, because it was so real, that feeling of waking up from a dream and thinking you're still in it. Yeah.
Can you read the stuff in a dream? Sometimes I can, but usually the words are nonsense.
Well, usually it's either nonsense, or the moment I try and read it is when the dream cracks.
Yes.
But I've gotten stuck in loops of dozens or more of these constant false awakenings, and I've discovered how dreams aren't just auditory and visual. All your senses kind of conspire against you, because I've woken up in a dream and thought, okay, I'm stood and I'm pressing on the wall, and I can physically feel it, and I can definitely feel this wall against my hand. So this can't be a dream. And then the wall just faded out of existence.
So you're like, well, there you go.
So it's a very effective kind of nightmare, because it makes you question your whole existence, rather than going, oh, of course there's no giant spider chasing me.
Do you have dreams, Alan? I think you've told me that you don't remember your dreams.
I have a poem about that, but I decided that we would probably have a session on dreams at some stage, so I decided
I jumped the gun.
to do it.
No, that's all right. We have others. We can.
I tend to try to force dreams in order to go to sleep.
Right, yes, right.
So I put myself into a circumstance that I'm in a happy state of mind, and therefore I go to sleep.
Until someone starts patting him on the shoulder. Result.
Well, I used to dream when I was actually about your age, Becca, when I mean that by 9 or 10.
No.
Because you were describing 9 or 10.
Right,
yes.
okay.
I used to dream
Good
about
save.
dinosaurs, but they were my friends. And they would go and eat people who bullied me
Oh,
and stuff.
that's it.
I had pet Tyrannosaurus rexes.
You say you force dreams. Are they lucid?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well, they're lucid until I fall asleep.
Oh,
okay.
Sometimes people do. They become lucid in their dreams.
you.
That's a thing you can try to do.
Oh yeah, lucid dreaming. Oh, it's just my point that I was about to make wasn't in any way important or significant or even on topic. Just how quickly that went from really sweet to quite frightening. Just like I dreamt I had dinosaurs.
We should get off dreams anyway and get back to sleep.
And they'd eat my enemies.
But see, I know. I like that too. Right? It's a pet. Mommy's been bad.
That one.
I don't like my teacher. That's actually quite handy. Yes. Smiting your enemies even as you sleep.
Well, yes, I think children need it. It's either that or you go quietly mad or go into multiple personalities. So dreams about friendly pet dinosaurs are probably more healthy than than suddenly having imaginary bunnies and things.
Well, I don't know. And as a writer, you can also write a story and just kill off everyone that you don't like in the story, which is very good. Be kind to writers, or they'll make you, they'll just have horrible things happen to you, or terrible things. So do you have a poem to build on from that, Alan, or are you just...
I do, but I didn't pre-select it because I'm preserving it for the day we actually do dreams.
Oh, dun dun dun!
Yes, I know.
I see. So that's
I'd have to go and
that's Dreamus Interruptus. You've
yes. We went off topic. You see.
I see. There is no topic. There's the nominal topic. It's kind of like campaign promises. You say this, and you can do anything you want once you're in the moment. Oh, did you want us to take care of the poor? I didn't mean that. We have a dinosaur, and we could just, we could just take care of it. All done. All right. Well, then I
can do another sleeping poem if you
can
like.
do a sleeping poem. Yes, you have a series of creepy sleeping poems.
Yes, well,
I like them though. It's all right.
Yeah, well, this is tending towards the schmaltzy as well, but there we go.
Right.
But this one is called "Sleeping on the Porch." And I should explain that in an ideal world, Rose and I prefer to sleep in the conservatory, so that when the sun comes up in the morning, we see it and the birds sing and the trees and the leaves.
It's God's flashlight. You will be awake. It's amazing.
And we look at the moon, and of course, we expect spy satellites to be watching what we're doing.
Yes.
Sleeping on the porch. Sleeping or not. On the porch, I watch the night sky blurred by imperfect eyes, through the glass ceiling and the long-path lopping oak, pondering why I seem to have so many bones. She, asleep, or not, by my side, wearied by lime, bad tenants, a teenage daughter, too many cats and me, breathes 3 times to my every breath, even unconscious ponders whether tonight's the night the lime will let her sleep. Awake, or not, together, indigo turns blue, heat, blankets, and a desperate need not to wake each other, while memories and expectations of sweet carnal oneness keep us close, trusting in sleep, or not, as we trust so absolutely in life. And when morning comes, we merge, sloughing night's caution, priming the primeval pump, that together we can be apart to face the day again.
Actually,
that wasn't schmaltzy. I love that one.
No, that's good. That actually fits in with the fact that lime couldn't always let me sleep. A lot of times I would just lay there quietly and let the night pass, or daydream, like I said.
Yeah.
Yes. In a way, I would try to start sleeping by imagining something very boring and long and interesting, like travel or something.
Sometimes I still do this. But when I was younger, I used to. Because I'd start imagining things, but I'd start imagining sort of very kind of active, awake things. So I used to try and steer my imaginations into like, I'd pretend to be someone who would be lying very still or would be sleeping. So sometimes I'd pretend to be a dead body because I was a what's the word? I was a little bit obsessed with death for a child, but sometimes like I'd pretend to be like a wounded soldier, I'd gotten wounded out of the war that I'd been fighting for so long, and now this is the first time I've gotten to rest, and I'm in the hospital, and there's like really nice nurses, and it was that a lot of them had to do with like death and war and stuff.
I look at human skeletons, I say nothing. Death is, Walter Mosley said that we are the only animal, after a certain age, but we're the only animal that's fully aware that we die. And I think if we didn't have this deadline, we wouldn't get anything done. If I had millennia, really? Can you imagine? Oh, I'll write that novel in a few hundred years, really? No reason to get anything done if you have forever. So, I think that the fact that we have a deadline kind of gets us going. So that's I think we've been
that's a discussion for the death one. Have we done a death one? We probably have, haven't we?
But the thing is, the very first one we did was death, or followed by love. We did love because love, hearts, roses are red,
love
violets.
Poems,
exactly. But the thing is, we can always revisit a topic. We can't maybe revisit the poem, but we can always revisit, because death is really kind of huge, isn't it? The good death, the bad death.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and we've done seasons, but we specifically kept it till winter and fall, so we could always do spring and summer. So we can always revisit a topic. We can't necessarily revisit the same poem. So anyway, that's actually a very good place to go from there. We have been The Poetry Show, and we are the Podcast Poets. So tweet to us on Twitter at Podcast Poets. Email us at podcast@podpoets.com, and find us on iTunes and give us those reviews and ratings. This has been The Poetry Show, produced and edited by Adam Taglietti as a production of Eden Agency.